Okay, we are live, guys. I'd set the wrong time. I'm not quite too sure if it defaults to AM or what have you, but it was set for the wrong time. And now I'm starting 10 minutes early from my original start time, which is 12 noon. So I see that there was a few guys in here probably midnight last night. John, Rob, and Ronnie. Sorry, guys. Misinformation there. Oh, there goes the old phone. We have snow today. The S word. It's like Fahrenheit. It's 2 degrees. It's supposed to go down to -6 today. And I've been sitting here waiting for 24 hours. No food, no water. I know I had set the wrong time. I think it defaults to AM or something, and I thought I'd set the correct time, but it was all wrong anyways. Good afternoon, Ashley, and Happy Lux. Looks like thank you for popping in. Like I said, I'd set the wrong time, and now I'm popping in like 5-10 minutes early from my original start time. Hey, Sharon, how you doing there? I hope everybody can hear me okay. I can't hear myself, so it is cold today here. Like we have snow. I got up this morning and it was pretty cold inside the van, but it is what it is. Supposed to go like to -6 today. Not good. You'll have to get yourself a nice warm coffee. I don't have any coffee here today, but it looks like there's something wrong with my camera. It keeps flashing light and dark. Wonder why. Maybe it's sensing light somewhere. Yeah, no kidding. Brr, I'll tell you. How's everybody doing today anyways? I hope much better than this weather here. The snow is really sticky stuff. Good snowball snow. I just have to, I guess I'm going to have to dig out my big winter jacket, keep warm. And I have to keep I turned the furnace off in here, but I do have a furnace so I can stay warm. There unfortunately, hi Tommy. There is unfortunately no photos today. I didn't have anything prepared. I was going to do a game. Well, the whole thing there, the whole process has changed. But I was going to make up a game with the letters, the words, 6-lettered words, kind of all scrambled up. But I was going to do that from an undisclosed location. But that's all sort of changed. Ronney Braun says something, and then what's wrong? What is wrong? Ronnie was sitting here. I'd set the wrong time on my live stream. I think it was set for 12 a.m. and three of my was John, Ronnie, and Rob. They had stopped in, and Ronnie says he was sitting here for 24 hours waiting for me. Sorry. I had set it up last night, I guess before midnight anyways, must have been 9-10 o'clock, or maybe, I don't know what time it was that I'd set it up, but I neglected to look at the time when it was set for. I may have set it the day before, actually, like 24 hours before, and I neglected to look at the time. So I had a few guys pop in and say, "Hey, where are you? We're waiting." And I think it was, you, Ronnie, you were saying something. You're going to sit there until I come on. Long wait. I was sound asleep, I think. I'm sorry I was. Let me just see here and click on these things here now that fed and watered you well. That's good. And I even got up pretty late today. My time, it was 9:30, I think, by the time I woke up. A sore hip, and that was bothering me. So I figured I'll see what's going on. Woke up and hey, it was 9:30 already. So I had to go out for a quick breakfast, and all over with now though. And unfortunately, I haven't got any pictures today. Yeah, because let me just see here. John, the flying JDS Flying Canuck. He was here. I don't know what time. Well, it's 11. It says 11:30, probably his time, which might have been 12:30 my time last night. I don't know. The time was wrong, anyways. I'm thinking. Well, not yeah, sort of trivia. Not necessarily like the trivia game. We did have a couple of, yes, I would say more like trivia kind of games. But we used to have, and I give away prizes and things, word games. Like I would put up a word on the screen, which would be 6 letters. They're all 6-lettered words, and the letters were mixed up. And the first person that would guess what the word is, I'd give them a point. And at the end of the game, it would be like 30 words or something at the end of the game. I'd add up who's first, second, and third. And then we'd give away prizes and things. But I haven't come up with any lately. I should do that again. Maybe hopefully if I can do that next Sunday, I might try to. I just have to find time to gather up all this stuff. And I don't know. I haven't even put out any videos. My brain is just not functioning in that way. I got too much other stuff on my mind, I guess, and I have to get, I guess, settle down and get doing that. And I would just go and get a bunch of words, and then when I scrambled up the letters, sometimes they're really hard to figure out, even just a 6-lettered word. Like they're very hard to figure out sometimes what the word is, and sometimes it just pops right out at you. And when I would scramble up the letters and I'd put the word on the screen, I couldn't even figure out what the word is. So if somebody got it right, I wouldn't even know it. So I have to write it down beforehand. But that's what I used to have. Not necessarily a trivia game, although we did have a couple times trivia questions. But those were taken offline. Is something I didn't make up. And let me just see here. It's unbelievable how fast it gets cold. It's 20 degrees in here inside the van, and it's 2.6 degrees outside, and it's supposed to go down to like minus 6 today. Yeah, sounds like a boggle type game. Yeah. Yes, that's, except there wasn't like a whole bunch of words put on the screen like a boggle type, but just one word at a time. It was a lot of fun. We had I don't know, there was 20 some people playing at one time there, and I think that must have been this summer. It wasn't really like too long ago. Maybe early spring or something. I think that's what it was. We had that. I'd have to look back at my videos. And I did keep the words on my computer to run them a second time, or people would forget what they were, and for some reason they're gone. They're deleted. So I'll have to go out and get some more words. I used to find any 6-lettered words and scramble them up myself. Or there's sites where you can go and you can find these words already like that. Scrambled up words. What did I do with my? If it starts to sound like too noisy, let me know, because if I turn the furnace on, sometimes it blows, and if it's blowing right up there onto the microphone, let me just see what the temperature is set for. Okay. It's set for 22, so we'll see what happens. Starts the furnace. This unit does have a built-in furnace, but I ran it last year a little bit just to see. I don't use it because I have a diesel heater, which I use. It's much better. Both have like dry heat. They're not propane. What's a propane burner, but the exhaust's outside, and the diesel heater is diesel fuel, of course, and it exhausts outside. It just circulates the air from inside the vehicle and heats that air. There's no air sucked from outside and heated up, so it's just circulated air. And then once it gets to the temperature that I set it for, then it throttles right down and is just pumping real slow. It doesn't burn up much fuel at all. Very, very good. Let's say 355 milliliters of fuel. That's like a can of pop every hour, every couple of hours, something like that. It's not very much fuel at all, especially when you have a 10-liter tank. I could run that for a couple of days, and I don't run it continuously anyways. I'll turn it off once it gets to the right temperature in here. Like I said, it throttles down and it just blows really, really slowly, and tries to maintain that heat, although it doesn't shut off, so it just gets continuously warmer and warmer. Although it does have I can set a timer twice a day to come on and turn off. So sometimes I would set it for in the morning before I would get up. You're still asleep. It would come on, burn for however long I set it for, an hour, 2 hours, nice and toasty in here when it's like time to get up. And then at night when just before you go to bed, you let it run for a couple hours, nice and warm, and then it would turn itself off and on. At least twice a day you could program it for that, which was perfect. And if you wanted to run it in between times, you just turn it on, run it till it's nice and warm, or however long you wanted to. I left it on. I don't usually run it at night, because when you're under the covers and it's nice and warm in there anyways, you don't really feel the cold. And it gets to I don't know, 2 degrees, like whatever the temperature is outside, something like 2 degrees Celsius, which is like in, the low 30s in Fahrenheit. So you don't really feel that anyways. But I did let it run all night long once, and it only burnt like 2 inches of fuel in my tank. It's hard to tell you how many liters that would be, a liter or so, but what is this? Oh wow, your winter wear stored in Pennsylvania. Yeah, no, believe it or not, no, I don't have any winter thermal stuff to wear. I just crawl under the covers and go to sleep. My diesel heater seems to be at least burn a gallon of fuel idling, but that does produce a lot of heat. Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess it all depends on what temperature you got it set at anyway. See, like it's blowing pretty hard right now. It's down below my feet, or below my feet. Underneath the bed, I have it sitting underneath there, and I have it set for 22 in Celsius, 22 degrees Celsius, and then when it gets to that temperature in here, then it'll throttle right down to just. I guess it's still, well, the pump. It pumps very, very slowly then, like 2 pumps per second. And each pump is about the size of a small pea of fuel, So it's not very much fuel at all. But if you've seen the diesel heater tanks, I don't know if they're very thin and they're tall. They're kind of squarish, but very thin. And it's 10 liters. And I can't say how much fuel it burnt, like in 12 hours. I started it at 8 o'clock at night, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, I turned it off, and it burnt 2 inches of fuel in that tank. So that's probably, a few liters anyways. If you could divide that by, well, yeah, a couple of liters of fuel all night long, 12 hours of fuel, or 12 hours of burning. One idling is on effect used to use. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've had mine for 5 years already, so I don't remember like what the BTUs are. Like I have a 5,000 unit, so it's probably 5,000 BTU. But is that I don't know when it idles down. How many? Like it's. I don't know. All I wanted to know was how much fuel it burns in an hour, and how long it would last, how much it costs. Here, diesel fuel is 20 or 30 cents more than gasoline is. So diesel is higher price. I'm going to have to use 2 diesel heaters at once in a 25-foot motor home. So if you're heating your whole thing, I guess once the place is heated up, one would probably suffice. Once you get to the temperature, it's just getting up there. Maybe I don't know. I really don't know how that would work. Would turn off the heat. It would wreck some food. Would wreck some food. If you have, like right now, I have an actual granite countertop. Believe it or not, a friend of mine that's that has a granite company. He made a granite countertop for me. Oh, okay. And that's granite. It's rock. So when it's cool in here, that rock is cold. So I could set some of my I could set some of my food on there that I have to keep cold on that rock and would keep it cold. I don't even need to put it in the fridge. I have a fridge, and actually right now it's turned off. It just stays cold in there. So I'm thinking, I don't know what's going to happen next Sunday. I don't know what's going to happen. I've hit the old. Don't get me wrong. One diesel heater is enough for most of the time. Well, they come in a 2,000, a 5,000, and an 8,000 unit. That's what they're called. And I have the 5, and for inside of this vehicle, it's good. The 2,000 is physically smaller size unit than the 5,000 is. And then the 5,000 and the 8,000 are the same size. And if you're buying the Chinese diesel heater, I think the Chinese they're using trickery to think that you're buying an actual 8,000 BTU unit. What they do is in the programming of the pump and the fan, they turn it up higher. So yes, it's pumping more fuel, and the fan is turning faster, but it's a 5,000 unit just programmed to be higher. I can do that with my 5,000. I can program it to pump faster, more pumps per second, and make the fan turn faster. So I would never buy the 8,000 because it's like they trick you into thinking that it's not. It's 5,000 unit programmed higher. So I had studied these quite a bit, not before I bought one, but after the fact. And I've had one problem with my heater, glow plug. I needed to replace the glow plug. The very first time that ever happened, I don't know why, it just happened. The glow plug, I think it's ceramic or something, the heater itself that heats up the red hot, and then fuel comes in, and then the fuel just ignites. And after the fuel is, once it's hot in there, you don't need the glow plug anymore. It turns off. So there's no more power going except for the pump is pumping and the fan is turning. That's the only power it uses. Very minimal amount of power, if you ask me. Like right now, I like to keep my house batteries at no lower than 12.2, and it's down to 12.2 right now, which is about 60% power right now. So I don't like to usually run it any lower than that. So what I got to do is, I'm not getting any solar today at all. It's got snow on the solar panels, I'll bet, and there's no sun. So we're not getting any power from the solar. So what I got to do is run the vehicle to keep up the power. I don't want to run my house batteries like too low. I've had these batteries for 5 years, and they've done me really well so far. And I've got 3, I think they're 100 amp hour batteries. So I've got 300 amp hours, but the whole idea is once you draw power out of them and it goes down to like the 50% mark, and then you run your vehicle you could run it for an hour, and it might say 12.8, 12.9, and then within the hour it's down to 12.2 again. It goes really fast. It's because it's hard to explain, but when you take a battery and you deplete it and then push a bunch of power into it to get it built back up again, yes, it gets filled up quickly, but it's not like it's full. It's like, I don't know how to explain that. But if it's full to begin with, or more or less, and you keep it that way, then to run down from 12.9 to 12.2 takes a long time, several hours before it's down that far. And I guess it all depends on what you have running, of course. But once it's low like it is now, it's at 12.2, and I run the vehicle for an hour or so, get it up to 12.9, within a short amount of time, it's back down to 12.2. It just seems like a false count, false numbers. Oh, I just wondered, is Sharon is still in the house here? I've been Michael has been trying to get a hold of me on the phone, and yesterday I think it was, and I was someplace where I couldn't answer the phone, and he wanted to talk to me and tell me some stories and what have you, but I was just too busy to. I couldn't answer the phone. There is even the ringing; it would just buzz, so I had the ringing turned off. And he wanted to discuss some stuff and what have you, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to talk in the office there, and I think tomorrow is the meeting. I might try to make it tomorrow to the meeting, and I think that's going to be six o'clock, six around 6 o'clock in the evening my time. So I hope I can remember to make it, because I don't really know what I'm going to do here, and it's always nice to have pep talk, but that's just what happens. You get old and you get your body starts to break down. So I don't know. Can you hear the roar? Like, it's at the diesel heater's at full blast right now. It's getting up to it went up 1 degree so far, and it'll be full blast until it gets to, I think I have it set to 22. Once it gets to 22, it'll start idling back. And it all depends, I guess, where you have the thing pointing up at the thermostat. Well, then it's going to hit 22 fast. If you point it away, it takes a lot longer for the temperature to get up. But it's nice and toasty in here now anyway. And it's like, it went up a little bit outside, went up 0.2 degrees outside. So it's like 3 Celsius. And it's supposed to go down to -6 today or tonight. Now that's colder than Vancouver ever gets in the winter, all winter. -5 in Vancouver at some days in the whole winter. And when it's always like plus. Rarely will it even get to 0. So like if you're +1, +2 all winter long, yeah, I have a winter jacket here somewhere packed away. It's been there for 5 years, packed away. I never get to wear it because in Vancouver it's never that cold. Last year was a different story. Last year it was cold. I have noticed it doesn't take some juice to start it up, and the glow plug comes on when it's shut off completely. Yeah, the glow plug comes on twice. Once when it starts up for just to get the fire burning and get it going, and then it'll turn off. You can see on your thermostat on the wall there, it'll show it, the little picture of the glow plug. It'll be red, and it'll turn off. Then your power consumption goes way down because it, and then when it turns off again, or when it's going to shut down, just before it turns off, the glow plug will come on again. I wish I had some sort of other charger I could use to keep the power up. Like it's 12.1. I think that well, I have the heater on, so it's using the fan and the pump, even though it's not very much power consumption, but it still uses the power. But when I have that all turned off, and then I have the power turned on for the computer, it's on all the time. So I have the computer on, and then I have a converter that's on right now. I can turn that off too. When I turn everything off, well, then there's no power consumption. So I guess I suppose you can't even hear the diesel heater running, I would think. But let me just see. I'm going to start the vehicle and see what happens with the sound there. There. Now we'll see what happens. As long as you can hear it, see what in a second it's up to 13.2. But that's kind of a false thing there. Hey, Mr. John Chucker, how you doing, my friend? I played probably 90% of your videos there, John, just to give you some watch time and watch time. So I did contribute what I could. So let's just say, for example, that you, wherever you wanted to go to another country and you can't afford the insurance. That's one thing. I have diabetes, and to get insurance to go to other countries, let's say, for example, it costs you, well, for like a 6-month trip, it would cost I think it was $2,300 for 6 months for regular type insurance. That would cover, I think it was like $5 million coverage. So the minute you say that you have some sort of heart problems or diabetes, your insurance goes up to more than double. So I told them, they said, well, what kind of health problems do you have? And I said, well, I have like high blood pressure because of the diabetes, I suppose. But I have diabetes. And the guy said, oh, let me recalculate that for you. And it was more than double the cost. Like it was over $5,000 for 6 months. And I said, what the hell? Holy smokes, man. That's an outrageous amount just because of diabetes. And diabetes is one kind of illness that you can't, especially type 2 diabetes, I'm talking. Not type 1. Type 1 is different. Type 1 diabetes is your blood sugar goes like too low. And you can feel it when it goes too low. easily die from that if you don't watch out. Whereas type 2 diabetes is your blood sugar is always high, and it's got to go extremely high, I think, before mine hasn't been that high, but it's got to be extremely high before you notice anything, and you don't feel that. So you're walking around with your blood sugar extremely high, well, not extremely, but high all the time, unless you watch what you eat. Even taking medications. And that's another thing. When you take medications, what are you doing? You're not fixing the problem. You're kind of masking the problem of what's going on. And you're wreaking havoc on your organs, like your liver and your whatever else it affects, especially your liver. Your liver is the one that cleanses your body. And when you take, and it produces stuff for you. Like, sure, there's other organs that produce the insulin for you, and the glucose and what have you, and the cholesterol, the good cholesterol, because your body produces cholesterol to keep everything. And everything's got to work together, or it just doesn't work right. So, hey, hi there, Snow Debs. Ukrainians are having the same problems. Oh, wow. Yes. Now, it's too bad that the war isn't over. But anyways, I wouldn't want to live over there right now. That's amazing. Even if you're Ukrainian or you're Russian, whatever, they're just like Canada and the U.S. It's a good thing that Canada and the U.S. are friends. Otherwise, that would be horrible. I think we have one of the largest or longest unprotected borders in the world. I mean, yeah, there's when you go to major highways and things, but there is no wall or anything like that. You can just walk across. Unless you're driving, then you got to stop and say where you're going, what are you going to, how long are you going to be there, what happened. So yeah, but anyways, the diabetes thing you can't feel. So like I said, when you purchase insurance, it's like more than double what they quoted you for. Like just normal, even just your normal insurance. But then in another country, you don't want to dare get sick if you can help it. I don't know if you're from the U.S. You tell me. Maybe each state has different prices and different things. But I just heard on the YouTube I was watching, some doctor was on there, and he was saying that in the U.S., if you to get a simple blood test is like $40. I don't know, it might be different where you are or what have you, but a blood test. You go get your blood drawn, they test it for whatever, and then you, in a couple of days, you go back and you to your doctor, and they tell you what's in your blood. Here in Canada, it's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything to go get a blood test. They ask your doctor, or you should go get a blood test every 3 months or so. Oh wow! Holy, yeah. Some countries have great medical, like the U.S. I don't know what it is in the U.S., but that's what I was hearing on the YouTube I was watching. It costs $40 to do a blood test. Now another thing is like a colonoscopy. In the U.S., somebody told me that it was like, or that doctor was mentioning that it was like $3,000 to have a colonoscopy. Like, what? Here in Canada, again, it's totally free. If your doctor sends you to the specialist and they have a colonoscopy, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So I really don't know how our health system makes money. It's strange. You can go and get an operation of some sort. It doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. And years ago, they did take money from our paychecks. You'd have to pay, I don't know, I think I was paying just over the $100 mark every paycheck was going towards medical. And then all of a sudden it quit. So, I mean, somewhere, somehow we pay for that. I don't know how it works. But I haven't noticed anything yet that I had to pay for. Walk-in clinic, when you have something minor problem, you go to the walk-in clinic, you go in, you sit there for an hour or two, and finally the doctor gets to see you, and then you say what you want, and he tells you blah blah blah, here's some medication or what have you, or that is totally all free, which is good. I mean, it'd be hard to get fixed if you. Is it like too noisy? Can you guys hear the things running? The diesel heater is still on kind of full blast right now. It's 23 degrees in here. It should be throttling back. Well, the temperature gauge over there tells me what it is outside and inside, but I have one back here, just off screen, on the wall there. Way over there, there's my diesel heater thermostat. Tells you that it's what temperature it is in here right now. And it tells me that it's 23 degrees over there, and I think I have it set for 22. So it should be throttling back here. It even might be. It just slow air. The fan goes really slow in the pump. I think the lowest default setting is 2.2 pumps per second. And you can, I think, well, I'm not sure if that's even the lowest it'll go. And the fastest it'll go is something like 5 or 6 pumps per second. So it's pumping pretty fast. Yeah, it's right just about turned off. It doesn't turn off by itself unless I program it to. Then it will shut itself off twice a day. I don't have that special thermostat that I can program it many times a day. No, we can hear you fine. Okay. Right on, Mr. John. You can see people walking by. They're all bundled up today. It's pretty close to 1 second. 1 second for pumps, I think. The other night I thought I heard a clock, but it was the pump. You hear a clock ticking. Once a second, you can tell what time it is then. Yeah, if you could set it for 1 pump per second, it's just like, it would be like a timer on a clock or something. And I had a friend from Vancouver that he loves the wave heaters, propane. I think they're called the Wave 3, Wave 6, Wave 9, and they burn propane. And anytime you burn propane, the byproduct is moisture, water. But that's put into the air. So if you have a wave heater in your vehicle, you're going to be putting moisture in the air. Now, okay, you have to understand a little bit about these things. thanks, John. Thanks for noticing that. I guess if I'm totally quiet, you might be able to hear it. But anyways, radiant heat is like the sun. You stand in the sun, you'll get hot. You stand underneath a tree, it's still the same temperature, like where the sun was shining. Hello, Colette, how are you doing? But in the shade, it all depends on how hot it is to begin with. But it's noticeably cooler. That's because you're not standing in the sun, so you have radiant heat, and that's how a wave heater works. Is radiant heat. So in other words, if you're sitting in front of the heater, you'll get nice and toasty and warm. But sit behind the heater, it will be cooler. It doesn't heat the air, it heats objects that's in front of it. It doesn't heat. I'm doing sort of okay. We'll talk about that maybe in a few minutes here once I explain this heater situation. You get more or less than regular propane use. Yeah, well, yeah, I woke up this morning too, and there was snow. It's supposed to be -6 tonight. Yikes. So anyways, once you're sitting in front of a wave heater, yeah, it's a chemical reaction with the pad that's on the back. It's no real flame. But you're still burning propane though, and that will put moisture in the air. Not as much as a buddy heater does, whereas buddy heater actually has a flame. But you're still burning propane. Now, a wave heater in a vehicle like this, you would have to be able to swing it so that it's pointing at you, or make it so that if you're sitting wherever you're sitting, it's pointing at you and keep you nice and warm. But it's going to be cooler where it's not pointed at, because it doesn't really heat the air. It heats objects that are sitting in front of it. So if you're sitting in front of it, you'll stay warm. As a buddy heater will heat the air and moisture in the air again. But a diesel heater, it exhausts outside, but it's burning diesel, not propane. But because it sucks in fresh air from outside and exhausts that burnt air, oxygen outside, all it does is circulate the air inside the vehicle by the fan that's blowing over top of the heater itself, the fins where the fire is, where the combustion chamber is. It's blowing the air over top of that, which heats the air, and it heats the whole unit. So that's the difference there. Now, this friend of mine in Vancouver there, he swore by the faults and the pros and cons of both heaters. But because he didn't understand the diesel heater or even understand the wave heater, he made false accusations, false statements. Like not putting moisture in the air. That's the byproduct of burnt propane, is putting moisture in the air. Yes, less than. But listen to this. The hotter you make the air in like say in my vehicle here, the hotter you make the air, the more moisture it can hold. So he said on his review that when he turned his wave heater on and the temperature got to be warmer, put the thermostat there and it got to be warmer, that his gauge that showed the moisture in the air would go down. Well, that's because the air is warmer. It can hold more moisture, which means the moisture is still in the air. It's just not It's in the air and it's not stuck to the sides of the walls or the window. And that's where you would get mold start growing, is because of moisture in the walls. Now, if you can stop that, but you'll always get moisture on the windows. So the minute the temperature goes down, or it gets saturated when it can't hold any more moisture in the air anymore, it will land on something that's a cooler surface. And that's where moisture will build up. Whereas a propane heater, on the other hand, there is no moisture in the air. It only heats the air without moisture being put into the air. So yes, the hotter it gets, the more moisture it can hold, but there is no moisture for it to hold anyways. So the windows never get fogged up, ever. It can't, because there is no moisture. And he thought also, and he made a statement that somebody said, well, what happens if you get a fire? Well, see, there again, that's false. It would take an explosion or something to happen to make this diesel heater have a fire. It's contained inside of inferior metals. Yes, the Chinese don't use them. But I have never ever heard once of a diesel heater, and I don't care how cheap they are, having a fire. Whereas a wave heater, if you hang something in front of it, it's going to catch fire, which is way more hazardous, in my opinion. And then he was saying something, well, what about if you're filling your tank, your diesel tank, with fuel, and you spill fuel somewhere? Well, if you're careful, you will never spill fuel, and be really careful. But my tank is inside, right behind my driver's seat. Some people hang their fuel tank outside. Some of them have a diesel unit or vehicle, and they tap right into the diesel there. But he had a sensitive nose. He could smell things, and he would say, like, one drop somewhere, and I could smell that. Well, I doubt whether that's true. I don't think one drop of diesel fuel is going to bother you, unless you're, I don't know, something wrong with your nose, that's for sure. But carrying, I have diesel fuel inside here. It's pretty hard to ignite that, to get to burn. And I used to have a buddy heater. Now I'm carrying a 20-pound propane tank inside the vehicle. I know that those can't blow up either. It's very, very hard for that to explode. But that, to me, was more dangerous than what I have here. So anyways, bottom line is, Storl of the Maury is, my personal opinion is the diesel heater is the way to go. If you're going to heat your unit, diesel heating. So anyway, that's got that. So anyways, the temperature, the blizzard in Saskatchewan is, we're having blizzard there. Oh my goodness. And then we were talking about insurance and stuff. As you can see, I'm not in Mexico, and I was supposed to be there already for the last 3 days, since the 20th. 3 days. I should have been there already. I had to cancel my flight, and I don't know when I'm going to make it there. This is another thing. I don't know if it's just WestJet or Canadian or whatever have you, but you take the money out of your bank, you buy your flight, and so you've paid from your bank account to your flight. Now, if you go on your flight, fine and dandy. But if you have to cancel your flight, they don't give you your money back they put it in an account, and you've got 1 year that you can use that money. So if you don't use that money, you've lost your money. They don't give it back to you, and that bothers me because I really don't know when, if at all, I can go back, or I can go to Mexico. And the idea was I can't afford to buy the insurance, which is like horrendous. For 6 months, it's like almost $1,000 a month just for insurance, and it's just money you give them to say, here, if I get sick, here's some money. It should be in a credit with no time limit. Well, I wouldn't mind if they would give it no time limit so that I could use it whenever, but it is good for a year. I have the capability of using that money towards a ticket within a year. And I think he said that if you want to make it 2 years, it costs you money to keep it for another year. It's not very much money, like $50 or something, that I have 2 years. But the whole idea is, I know you don't want to really go to another country without insurance. What happens if you get sick in another country? It costs you, like I was saying, in the U.S., to have a colonoscopy, I saw on a YouTube channel there, in some, maybe not all states, but in this one state, was $3,000 for a colonoscopy. And here in Canada, it's zero. Well, in Alberta anyways, $0. It doesn't cost you anything. So if you, an overnight stay in the hospital could cost up to $14,000. It all depends on where. I don't know how Mexico is. So I'm afraid to go there without insurance, for one thing. Now, I've been to Mexico 6 times, 7 times. Never bought insurance once, never even thought about it. I guess when you feel healthy, you don't really think of that. But because of, why I can't go there now, I have to go, I have to see a specialist. And now it's a different story. So going there now without insurance would be a very scary thing. But I do have my flight tickets sort of already kind of paid for, although I don't think I can find it for that price anymore. Coming up to like Christmas time and things like that, November, December, it's prices go way up because it's supply and demand. Like the demand is high, people are going, so the prices go up. But I've kind of mentioned to a few people like what my problem is, and it just I don't need to have people say, "Oh, geez, Wayne, sorry to hear that," blah blah blah. It's like when you get like cancer of the brain or something, or yeah, you do feel sorry for people, but I mean, I guess it all depends on how you take things and how you expect it. So I didn't really mention too much about, because I don't want other people just to worry about it, or I don't need, like, how do you say, I don't, like, sympathy things. Like, it is what it is. When you get older, when you get like you're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, like your body can't, it breaks down. You can't live forever. It's just, it is what it is. And that's the thing. Like, so I have a problem, and I have to go to see a specialist, and it could be a month. It could, like, I really want to get to Mexico so I can get my teeth fixed again. I have one implant that the crown is loose on it. The little screw comes loose. I don't know if it can ever fall off, but it's, and I have 100% full lifetime warranty there. I can get my whole, because I have my whole mouth is crowns. I have a full warranty for the whole thing. So I got to go to the specialist, and that could take who knows how long. Or do I just book a flight and go? And who cares about the specialist? I'll see him when I come back. The whole problem is I can't afford the insurance. So when I go, if you have a heart attack or something, which I don't think like that's not my problem, but you have to be put in the hospital like right away. I think like my deal would be I could catch I could change my flight back and get a flight back as soon as I could. So I really don't know. I don't know whether to just look at flights and just go and forget to see the specialist. I know what I'm kind of dealing with, and just do it. Like I said, it is what it is. So I really don't know. If you're not, if you, hard to say. Like, I guess I could sort of kind of. I guess I could kind of mention like believe it or not, from your mouth is the whole, all the tube of your stomach, all your intestines, all the way to your anus is outside of your body. It's a tube. If you just put a tube all the way down there and attach a stomach to it, it'd be the same thing. So food goes in your mouth, goes in your stomach, and takes all the nutrients out of it, absorbed into your blood, and feeds all your blood cells. And that's in a nutshell, that's how you live. So, but if anything within that tube goes wrong, then I don't. That's weird. Like I think I have. There's nothing. There's no word, I guess, for it. Well, maybe the doctors have a word for it. But let's say when you have I've had internal bleeding. Now it all depends on, I guess, in your stool. I guess it all depends on what color it is. That makes all the importance in the world. That would tell you where things are going on. Either mine happens to be right after your stomach, not in the intestine part, way farther down, like 1 or 2 hands distance from your stomach, going into the intestine. That's where I've had my bleeding, right there, right where the bile comes into your and absorb and it breaks down your food, and that's where I've had bleeding, is in that area. And so that you can't see with your eye. They could test that. I've had the doctors, what do you call that? The colonoscopy thing. Okay. Personally, it's not that I don't like that. It's just I don't believe in that. That's an invasive, barbaric, Now, if you've had that, and you say, "Oh, there's nothing to it," but it's not that the percentage of, but there's a 7% chance that as they're doing this, you can have perforations. They'll perforate your large intestine, and then you can die from that. And okay, so it's only 7%. But what does that do? All it does is for them to have a camera there, and they can see with a light, and they can see what's going on. Well, there are, I think, 2 or 3 other methods that they could use. That's not that bad for you, that they could use to do the same thing. They put a dye in your system, and then they can take an X-ray of, and they can see the same thing as they can with doing a colonoscopy. Or they can put something in your blood, like a dye in your, like a radiation in your blood again, and then they take an X-ray and it shows where these things are happening the same way as. So I'm just I'm not saying that I'm afraid of that. It's just I think that that's not the way to go. And for like women, for example, that have breast cancer, removing your breast is so barbaric that it's there are other ways to deal with that. Like they can give you medications that do something to the ovaries, or you can remove the ovaries, and that will do the same thing. As far as why remove your breast, that seems you have to follow some doctor, and the doctor that I follow is actually, his name is Dr. McDougall. With the, you see, now there's another thing. I looked up, how do you deal with not necessarily colon cancer, but cancer in that whole tube system there, like where the bleeding that I have. That is that right there where I had that is a very dangerous thing, dangerous area. So, like it heals up by itself. It's not, but it's when you eat something, or when it could happen anytime. I don't know if you could bleed to death from that, or you could get. I don't know the proper terms, but you could bleed to the point where you actually go unconscious. It's your whole system has to work correctly. But anyways, I've seen 2 doctors, Dr. McDougall and another doctor, I can't remember his name. Now, one doctor, this other doctor was saying, let's say you have like a colon cancer. How do you, not everybody can do this, but yes, you can actually make the cancer go away by the proper diet that you eat. So the one doctor was saying, you need to eat red grass-fed meat. Grass-fed, not grain-fed or any other thing, but red grass-fed meat. And some other vegetables and things. That will either prolong that and you get to live longer, or it can make it go away, but it definitely is better for you. And then when you listen to Dr. McDougall himself, he says red meat is the worst thing you can do, meat in general, because meat, especially red meat, which are cows, they eat grass, which has got chemicals and stuff on it, and it's in the meat. His diet is no meat whatsoever, not just because for cancer reasons, but no meat. So there's 2 doctors that went to 2 different schools to learn these things, but they're both saying opposite things. So which one do you believe in? I guess you have to go and look up more doctors and see what they would say, and see what the majority of doctors say about those things. But it's amazing. Now, Dr. McDougall was saying he has a couple of patients right now that have what do you call it, level 4 or something 4 cancer, which means it's everywhere in your body. It's in your brains, it's in your bones, it's in your organs, it's everywhere. And he's had 2 patients. He's got 2 right now that are going through this, his way of, but he's had 2 other patients that were cured completely of cancer, completely, and they've had stage 4. And it makes sense, because what you eat is what you eat is what you wear, or what you eat is, if you're eating the right foods which have the chemicals for that the cancer doesn't like. It's hard for me to explain because I'm not a doctor. But when you discover that you have colon cancer, like say for example, that has been growing for possibly more than 10 years already. It's your own cells, like your own cells, part of your colon, and one mutates for some reason and starts to divide a lot faster. And they say that cancerous cells double their size every 100 days, or 100 days, I think is the number, what that Dr. McDougall was saying. So in order for that cancerous growth to become 1 millimeter in size, which is 1 millimeter tiny, takes 2 years. And to become 1 centimeter in size takes 6 years, 6 to 10 years. So when it's and cancer cells, like I said, double their size. So 1 centimeter size of cancer cells is 1 billion cells. 1 billion cells to become 1 millimeter in size. So once they discover that you have cancer somewhere, it's been growing for many years already. So to do a colonoscopy just to find out for sure is not the way to go. I know it's something simple, and it's only such a small percent chance of something happening, but there are other ways that they can do that to find the same problem, and Dr. McDougall talks about that. So it all depends on which doctor you like to listen to. Like I said, Dr. McDougall said something about don't eat red meat at all. And the other doctor said that's one of the best things. So who do you believe in? I guess look at more doctors. And now, the one lady, he said, if you want to get rid of your cancers, is eat sweet potatoes and water. Just eat sweet potatoes and water. Like, that's a pretty gross. If you got to live on sweet potatoes and water, holy smokes. But I don't know why he said sweet potatoes as opposed to potatoes. Like, he has a starch diet, which is mostly potatoes. And I did that diet, cold turkey, and that was many years ago now, and I lost a lot of weight, got off all my medications, all of them. The doctor said you can't be taking metformin for your diabetes, your blood sugar is going to go low because you're already low. Your body's back to normal, so it will cut you off of all those high blood pressure pills. I don't think I take anything for cholesterol because my cholesterol is pretty good. But I was off all my medication, and then again, I think I had like a hamburger. I ate no meat. I just happened to just follow his diet completely. No meat, no dairy, and no eggs. And it worked for me. Like I said, it worked for me, and I didn't even exercise. He said, as a matter of fact, he says you don't really want to exercise that much because then you'll just want to eat more food. You can do it with just eating starch food, which humans have grown up with before fast food came into existence and what have you. And the beef industry is a multi-trillion-dollar outfit. Like potatoes and rice and corn and pasta and things like that. Like all diets. That's why there's several hundred diets on the market out there. They don't work for everybody. So whatever diet works for you is good for you if you're trying to lose weight. Or it's not saying that every diet is good for your body though. They even have a diet that's eat a lot of protein, like lots of meat. Hang on, I'm going to turn this off. We should have enough juice in there now for a little while. My phone went ding, ding, ding here for a moment. A software update. Your phone will restart after it's installed. Yeah, okay. Install now. We'll let it go do its thing. So anyways, guys, that's what I'm looking at. Should I just pick up and go to Mexico for 6 months and not worry about anything, or do I stick around here and wait for the doctor to say, well, you have this and that? Like if the doctor says that you have cancer, I've had it for 10 years already. Then like what's the difference? It's not going to kill me in 6 months, I don't think. So that's the deal. I happened to be on the 19th. I was supposed to fly to Calgary and then 20th to Cancun. On the 18th, I was sitting at the airport. I was going to ask questions like, what's the weight of the luggage? So there's a weight restriction also. So mine's overweight because I'm trying to take everything with me. Hang on, what we got here? Well, the only part that scares me is Tommy, is that I can't afford insurance. So I'm going to be going there knowing what I have, but I don't think that it, just my thoughts. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. So I think I could survive the next 6 months without like anything critical happening. Anybody can have a heart attack at any time. That's not my problem. But I am 70 years old. I guess anybody can have a heart attack. But my problem is like I was saying. So I can't I'm in Alberta here, and it gets like to minus 40. Once winter hits, it's this winter here. Well, winters here in Alberta are more brutal than they are on the coast, like in Vancouver. I could drive to Vancouver again and spend the winter there, but there again, if I'm in a different province, yes, things are more or less free, but I'm not where I should be in my home province, and I don't know how the medical work. Medical in each province is a little different. Although I can go to any province to a walk-in and not have to pay any money. But the thing is, if I go to Mexico, completely different foods. The foods could do something to my system. Although I love Mexican food, spicy foods like that. I love that kind of food. And when I was there in the spring here, like I know it's another country, and they have different diseases and things, and different, bug bites you, and you got. I'm not even worried about that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'd love to go there. Um, the, the the dentist people, I asked them, well, you have thousands and thousands and thousands of patients. Why they bend over backwards for me in particular? I asked them. I said, like, why are you doing what you do for me? Well, 9 years ago when I went there, I got my whole mouth done. I have 25 crowns, 2 implants, and I know 6 months will go by pretty quick. Thanks for that. I know you don't want to say, Wayne, you better go, or I know you don't want to tell me or give me a hint on what you think, but that statement right there helps me make my decision. Whereas 6 months go by pretty quick, so I'll go there. 6 months will go by. I'll be back in Canada, in my province in the summer. But regardless, yeah, it's going to cost me at least $500 more for my flight ticket now than it did when I purchased it. It was $1,200 a flight there and back. And oh, that's what I was saying. I was at the airport on the 18th, and I was ready to fly on the 19th, the next day. And I'm sitting at the airport. I just came out of the building, and I was sitting in my van on my phone, and my phone rang, and it was my doctor saying, we have to set up a specialist to see you. We've did your blood test, and we found that yes, you have loss of blood, and the chemicals or whatever, I know they can tell a lot by your blood. And my count was saying that you've had internal bleeding, and yes, I know that because that was showing in my stool. I mean, it's kind of gross to talk about that stuff, but if you have redness in your stool, then you have more of a colon problem. More than likely in the large intestine, not in the small intestine, but the large intestine, which is all the way, your food has already traveled through your small intestine. That's not my problem. When you have, I guess there's all different colors for a stool, I didn't know, right from kind of white to black. black is the very worst possible case scenario. And unfortunately, that was my kind. And that is because the bleeding that I had, geez, I don't know if I should be even telling you this to you guys. I mean, it's not that I want to keep it private. It's just like, I don't need people to say, oh, sorry, and sort of say, like, too bad. Like, but blackness means that I've had bleeding just below the stomach. Your food goes in your stomach and then it starts going through your intestines, and right there at where your stomach meets the intestines, that's where the bile is your bile is put into to help digest your food now more. And because it's bleeding in that area, which is, I think they said, one or two hands width, that much down from your stomach. When it's bleeding right there, it's trying to pump so much bile in to help, like the blood it just turns black, and that's not good. So after 3 days, it went away, and I don't have any of the other symptoms, cancerous symptoms though, like cramping in the stomach, or I don't have any other. I don't have loss of weight. I don't have any of those other symptoms. But the whole point is, I still had internal bleeding on a very crucial area, a very crucial spot. So that's the worrisome part. But it healed and went away. Gross again, but my stool is absolutely perfect, like it's supposed to be. So I think 6 months will go by really fast. Yes, I'm hoping so. And yes, I do feel sorry for a lot of Americans where if you don't have insurance to cover your medicals, you have to pay out of pocket. I'm learning. Keep going. Yeah, Tommy, and I don't know who's still in the house there, but I'm trying to make up a decision. If I find a flight that I can find tomorrow, I'm gone. I would like to be gone to Mexico. I don't care about, I missed my appointment with my, and that there again, it could be a week, it could be a month before I get in to see this guy. And then he's going to just tell me, well, we can tell by your blood, let's do MRI, let's pump some iodine, or not iodine, let's pump some whatever it is into your system so that we can take x-rays and it shows up. We can show where the bleeding was. We can show polyps that they should be removed. That's cancerous. Like, that's the thing about cancer in certain places. It takes years and years before, it's been going on for years before you really notice it. Not that it's too late. It's just that cancer takes years and years, and then it'll even stop, and then it'll carry on again. It could take 10, 20, 30 years before something serious happens. Yeah, I know your health insurance there is horrendous if you don't have any, and you live in a state where the prices are so high. It's the doctors that are working on you. They don't want you to be sued, or they don't want to be sued by you because they made a mistake or something. So you have to have high insurance. And that's why they charge an exorbitant amount of money to have things done. Like I said, $14,000 for one night stay depending on what it was. Now, I've seen on YouTube where people go to Mexico that have no insurance. They get a small problem, a slight problem. I can't even think of something. What this man, this fellow there, him and his wife and his 2 kids, they were there, and she got not food poisoning, something small. Like they went to the doctor, and it cost like 100 pesos or 300 pesos for that. That's like pennies, dollars. It's not very much money. Now, if you get something serious, well, you're in another country, and you don't dare buy insurance here in Canada anyway and lie and say, no, I don't have diabetes, because that's a big one, and any heart conditions. 6-month insurance coverage, which you just give them the money and poof, it's gone in 6 months, but it's over $2,000 for 6 months with nothing wrong with you at all. Like, you don't have any heart conditions, you don't have diabetes, you don't have, you're not a smoker, you're not a drinker. $2,000, which is not too bad, actually. But the minute you say that you have diabetes, well, now it's more than double that amount, just because you have diabetes. Now, type 2 diabetes, you can be cured from. And people say, no, you can't cure from diabetes. Yes, you can. Type 2 I'm talking about. If you can control your eating and you don't have to take any medication whatsoever for diabetes because you're controlling it. If you're not taking any medications, you are cured from diabetes, and your organs will start recuperating. And if you've gone that far, the worst thing you can do for diabetes is take medications, because metformin and all those things wreaks havoc on your kidneys and the organs that produce insulin for you. Like, it forces them to put out more insulin, or blocks this or blocks that. And like, it's the medication that's worse for you than the diabetes itself is. So if you can control your diabetes with foods and what have you, and which is not hard, you just have to do it. I'm cured of diabetes, let's say. But the question on the insurance says, have you ever been diagnosed with diabetes? Not now, but 20 years in the past or whenever? And if the answer is yes, well, that insurance will more than double. So it's almost $6,000 for 6 months. That's $1,000 a month. Now, if you're rich and you have lots of money, that's nothing. But you see, I'm still healthy to the point where I could work if I wanted to. I've been unemployed, retired for 5 years at least now. And I could work, but I can't live in this van here in Alberta in the winter. I'd have to get an apartment to live in. Now, if I did that, then there's no going to Mexico, because I could never afford to pay my insurance here and go to Mexico maybe one last time and get my teeth fixed and enjoy my life. I just couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. So that's the dilemma. Another dilemma, like, if I stay here and wait for the doctor to see him and figure out, oh, you're okay, you just had a one-time bleeding thing, I don't know why it happened, but that's a serious area that happened in, and you're okay. You're going to die of something else. I would like to just die of old age, but you don't have that choice. So then I'm in an apartment. So, and you can't just get out of the apartment, and it's the lifestyle I've chosen. I've chosen to live in a van, which is, it's not cheap though by any means. Living in a vehicle, it's when gas goes up, I consider gas my rent, and food I don't even consider at all, because I have to eat no matter where I am, no matter where I live, I have to eat. So I didn't consider food uh, as part of my, well, okay, what's my monthly uh, expenses? So gasoline, uh, clothing, entertainment. It's true that if you got bad news, you would still want to go to Mexico. Is it true that if you got bad news, well, that's my dilemma there, Ronney. Now, if I think it all depends on what's wrong with you. If the doctor says you have you have cancer of your heart or something to do with that, now that's a different story. Your heart could give up at any moment. Uh, you have cancer in your brain, or something. Um, Something that could give up in less than a moment's notice. Then, if you go to another country, that would be scary, because you never know when it's going to happen. But if you get a cancer of something that um, takes a long time, and there's necessarily no cure for it, like colon cancer, is more people die of colon cancer than other cancers, and it's just not readily easily to fix. I guess I don't know. Um, but it's something that uh, it's not an overnight thing. So if you get diagnosed with it, you might live for another 20 years doing nothing about it. It all depends on what it does to you, and where it is, and in your whole, so right from your mouth to the other end, where it is. If it's in your upper throat here, um, it closes off your thing. You have mucus. There's When you cough blood. I just don't want to, because I'm dead set against colonoscopies. There are other methods of finding that out. Um, I'm not a sword swallower. I don't want to have this thing stuck down my throat through my stomach to find out whether just below my stomach, where the bleeding happens, whether there again they can find that out by just actually testing your blood. And if they want to see what's in there, what are they going to do when they look in there? They're going to say, "Oh, you have polyps." Now, do they go in and remove them? And if they do, what does that mean to the cancer? Is it gone? And I guess it all depends on how many there are. It's like every single person on earth probably has cancer somewhere. It's some of your own cells that decided, hey, let's mutate, and we need to grow. And it takes a billion cells to make something one millimeter in size. That's tiny, but that's a billion cells already. I think they say your body is 100 trillion cells, your whole body, 100 trillion. If they could map every one of your cells, they have a computer big enough, um, then you could watch every single cell in you. But it's too big. You can't do that. So anyway, the thing is, whatever kind of thing I got I might be around for a long time, might be a short time. We don't know. But should it stop me from going to Mexico uh, to have a good time in your life? People that have more serious problems than that uh, do things. I don't want to be one of those people that are like kind of bedridden, and you're in bed and you spend the last times of your life like that. I don't care how old you are. Nobody wants to die. Um, that's not fun. And when you're a teenager and in your 20s and 30s, maybe you don't even think of that. It's just not even in your thoughts. And then the older you get, one of my friends here even said, you're getting old. That's why you're worried about these things. And I kind of thought about that, and I thought, well, no, not just because I'm getting old. The number has got nothing to do with it. Your body's going to break down anyway. And another friend of mine that comes on here, I was saying, well, I have this problem, and he says, well, I'll mention that to some friends. I won't tell them what it is, but we'll mention that we can pray for you. And I thought, well, is that really going to help? I mean, if God wanted to do something to someone, it could be a blink of an eye, and he could, like people that I seen this one guy that has no arms and no legs, and he's very religious speaker, and he said if God wanted to, he could give him arms and legs just by the blink of an eye. Yes, he could do that. And if you're going to pray for someone, I just kind of mentioned it. Will that help? If you're a believer, or like what makes that work? And then I thought about it a little more, and I thought, well, if prayer cures you of something, we could all live forever. Just keep praying. So we know that that's an impossibility. Your body just going to break down. I don't care how much prayer you make. It's just going to be to the point where doesn't matter how much praying, it won't help anymore. You're just going to, otherwise, like I said, could live forever. Just keep praying. It doesn't work that way. And I guess, I don't know, if you believe in prayer that's going to work for you, it may work. Or did things just go away on their own? Hey, Mr. Michael Santana, how you doing, my friend? I've been on now for at least an hour and 15 minutes, or 45 minutes, but I set up my live stream, and I guess I put the wrong time in, and people were showing up at midnight last night, because I put the AM and PM I had wrong, I guess. And then when I got up, I looked, and people were sitting in there. They're gonna wait till I come on, and what I call it. I think it was Ronney Braun says, I'm going to sit in here until Wayne comes on. Well, I don't know how long he waited until, well, oops. Yeah, Sunday might be a busy day for some people, that's for sure. I went and saw your last video there, and some of the photos that were on there were on a part of that you'd sent me. So I put those on last Sunday. There are no videos today, or still shots today. Well, I was thinking, though, if anybody wanted to send in pictures or short videos, by all means, like, send them in. I don't know what's going to happen with live streams. Like I was telling Michael there, I'm so in such a depressed state that it's hard to keep your nose above the water. Like the water's up to here. And I can't even think of putting videos out and stuff for myself even. And here I sit, it's snowing. Snowing here in Medicine Hat, and the next province over, Saskatchewan. I have a follower that's living there, and she's saying there's a blizzard there. Like a blizzard, I don't know if people that don't live where there's any snow and don't know what that is. That's where snow is blowing and lots of, and blowing against things and piles up, and it's not fun by any means. Well, you can send videos or still shots if you want to, Michael. No problem. But I don't want to take away from what you're doing on your channel there. If you're going to post your videos on your channel, which are beautiful, I don't want to take that away from you. If I post anybody's pictures or videos online, I'll mention who sent them in and where they're from. But I don't want to take away your the glory that you should have for that particular. I don't have a whole bunch of. I'm not in the thousands and thousands of subscribers and followers. I haven't even made a video in a long time. I've still got some footage from drones. I just didn't want to have drone videos out there. Every single one is a drone video. A lot of people will frown away from that. Wonder why see when I move a little bit, isn't that amazing? My video, my screen gets light and dark. And here I've got a hair in my nose that's bothering me. And man, does it ever hurt to pull those out? And I do have a little cutter thing that cuts them, but yeah, the auto white and the camera I'm using is at the moment is just from the laptop. It's not even so when I move over here, the white balance says, "Hey, we need less light. You're blocking the light," so it brightens up. The auto white balance. And I would love to get out and fly that new Avata. That was thank you to the people that stepped forward and actually made the purchase for me. But at one time I did mention thank you for that, but that's a pretty expensive drone. Wayne on the road. What the heck? How are you, my friend? I know you, and I used to I feel bad, but I used to watch your channel a lot, all the time, and followed you when you went across Canada there. I don't know where you are at the moment, and I don't know how you found me again. I'm sorry to say that I think I'm still subscribed to you though. And if I'm not, YouTube does things, but if I'm not, I will resubscribe. You can bet I will. Wayne on the road, guys. I don't have a link for your channel to post. I'm not on the YouTube side, so I can't just kind of go look real quickly here. And even any moderators there that are in the house would have to go looking for your channel. All right, Michael. I know you're busy today. And whoa, what the heck was that? Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining in. You're in Alberta now, heading south soon. Glad you're doing good. Wow, heading south soon. You're in Alberta. I'm in Alberta. I'm in Medicine Hat, Alberta, right now. If you're in Alberta, you must be having snow where you are. There is snow. Not like in Saskatchewan where my friend lives there. She said that there's a blizzard there. Like, my goodness. This is pretty early, October, even though it's end of October. Something just popped. And I think that's my drink bottle went pop. Something snapped. So we have snow here in Alberta. Oh, Brooks, wow, you're really close. You are in Brooks. Right on. Well, there must be some sort of snow in Brooks. I'm not too far from you. And you're heading south soon. Well, I talked about my whole, and Ronnie's still here. I've been talking about going to Mexico here and why I'm still here in Alberta and not gone to Mexico yet. Long story, but I want to get on the road here very soon myself. And it's just a matter of, I guess, booking a flight again and see if I can head to Mexico. Hang on a moment. Let's see what happens. Mute the sound. Stop the camera. What? Stupid flies. Light dusting this morning. Just trying to hold out till November here. Last year, I went to. I used to go to Vancouver every winter, and last year I went to Vancouver in early first week in November. There was no snow. It was nice, beautiful. Got to Vancouver, and then the flood happened, washed out the highways, the number one highway, and that was 2 to 3 weeks in November that happened. And then later on in November, it got lots of snow, excuse me, and very cold in Vancouver. It was like minus 19 in November. And that's what I understand, because I don't live there all the time. They said that's very rare. And out of the 5 years that I went there in the winters, that was the coldest. And every other year before that, it was lucky if you got down to minus 1, 2, 3, minus 5 at the most. And that might have been for one day. Most of the time it was 0 or above. So I just wore this light jacket all winter long there. I own a winter coat. It's up the top there. Never used it in the last 5 years. So if I stick around here very much longer, I might have to use it. But I've been thinking I've got to get to Mexico because two reasons. One might not be a good reason because I just want to. The other reason is I have a full I have a lifetime warranty on all my teeth, and I have a implant back here that the crown came loose. Like the crown is held down with a screw, or so the screw came loose. I don't know if it'll ever come off, but the screw is loose. And I had one in the spring where it was in the springtime. So I have 2 implants. The other implant that's now fixed again was the same problem. It had a loose crown. I went down, I got it fixed, tightened up. It's nice and tight. But the other one came loose. I should have had them fix that at the same time. But I was there. They let me stay in there. They have a 4-story building, and the top 2 floors are the top 2 floors. Yeah, the top 2 floors are apartments for the patients. So when you go in and you get your mouth done, it all depends on how much. If you get your full mouth done, you're paying a lot of money still, a lot less than in the U.S. or Canada, though. You get to stay in the apartments up above, and I just needed to get repairs. I didn't have anything done. I had one root canal done, and then that loose crown fixed. And when I finally came time after 2 weeks, came time to pay my bill, it was $0. I didn't realize that my teeth were covered. And they didn't even charge me to stay in the apartment there. All marble floors, marble bathrooms, or granite, or whatever it is. Beautiful apartments. The building is so new, the whole building, that if you go on Google Earth and look there, it's an empty lot. So that's how it's only maybe a year or two old, this whole building. So that was in Playa del Carmen. This was, and I've been to Cancun 6 times before that. 9 years ago was when I got my whole teeth done, my whole mouth done, and the dentists there, they had one place, one practice with no hotels, nothing, just one store, one business. Now they have several businesses, several stores. Some are in Cancun, some are in Playa del Carmen. Oh, if anybody wants to go get their teeth done, I recommend this place. It's called A1 Smile Design. That's the best place. You get full warranty on your teeth for life when you get your teeth done there, or whatever you get done. If you have a problem with that, again, it's full warranty for life. So that was in the spring when I got my teeth done, $0. I came back to Alberta here. I'm sitting here and I thought, well, gee, instead of going to back to Vancouver for 6 months, why don't I go to Mexico for 6 months? It's going to cost me I thought it was going to cost me roughly the same amount of money for rent and what have you. So I contacted the dentist there, that Irma Gavalden, that owns the business, and her son runs one of the businesses. So I asked him, I said, is there any cheap places to pay rent in Vancouver or in Cancun? He says, well, yes. Why don't you come here and you can stay at his place? They own apartment blocks where the doctors stay. He said, I'll put you up in one of the places. I said, well, how much is the rent? And he said, well, I'll rent it out to you for $750, I think, Canadian dollars, $750 Canadian a month. So, wow, that's really good. It's all gated. It's in a good area of town or of the city. Beautiful place. So I said, well, how come you guys are doing all this stuff for me? You have thousands and thousands and thousands of patients since I was there like 9 years ago. I said, why are you doing this for me? And then they told me that you're our brother. You were the first person that they've ever had 9 years ago that had a full mouth done like that and paid the most money. My dental back then was their prices went up, like everything else, but the price for my mouth was 25 crowns and 2 implants, and that cost me 13,000 Canadian dollars. $13,000. I know it seems like a lot of money, but in Canada, in Alberta here, that same amount of work that I would have got done here would cost $60,000. That's $60,000. So whatever savings that is, amazing. And that I got that whole thing done in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Amazing. So they said that's why you're our number one patient. We'll look after you, whatever it takes. You're like family to us. So that's why I got the apartment when I went there in spring and all that. They just covered it for me. Like, not the teeth work. The teeth work was done for free anyways because it was a lifetime warranty on the teeth. So they said, come on down. We'll set you up for the 6 months here. They send a shuttle to the airport to pick me up, what have you. And then I had to cancel my flight. I had to cancel my trip because of my medical problem that I have. Now thinking about it, and I don't know, and I don't know what to do. I can't make a decision on my own. I need someone else to decide for me, I guess. Should I go? Sorry about the fading. It's the auto. What do you call it? The auto white balance. Or the auto focus, or not focus, but that's when I shift over some way. Bright camera. And let me just see here. Missing out on here in Brooks. Okay, I'm caught up with so I'm thinking I should just go there for 6 months and have a good time and not worry about it. I can't afford the insurance, so just go, I guess. I mean, I am on the 70-year-old thing already. Just had a birthday this summer. We're at the big 7-0. Hey, I made it this far. It's amazing. So we'll see how it goes. I think I'm gonna have to pay more than what I paid for my original flight, because when you get into the supply and demand type situation where near Christmas and everything, a lot of snowbirds and a lot of people are going away for Christmas time. They're going down south, and that's when prices go up. Whatever you fly with, I just happen to choose WestJet because they fly direct from Calgary to Cancun. I don't know if there's other ones. They probably do. 5-hour flight. Like I said, I've done it 6 times, I think, 7 times, 6 times for sure. And one time I mistakenly made the flight that would fly from here to Toronto and then from Toronto to Cancun, a layover. And the layover was a couple hours. It wasn't very long, just a couple hours. Well, my flight from Calgary, well, actually from Medicine Hat here to Calgary, well, get this. The flight from Calgary to Cancun, so I'd have to drive to Calgary, find a place to put my vehicle, or a shuttle from Medicine Hat to Calgary. And the flight from Calgary to Cancun, I don't remember what it was, but let's just say $1,100. And then I thought, well, why don't I just take a flight from here? WestJet finally is in Medicine Hat. The flight from Medicine Hat, Calgary, and then a small layover, and then from Calgary to Cancun was $1,200. No, it's the other way around. It was cheaper to fly from here to Calgary and then to Cancun than it was from Calgary to Cancun, which, what? How can that be? So it was $1,200 from here, but $1,300 from Calgary only. Like, wow, that made no sense. But if you're driving, you have a pull behind, or have you purchased something else that you had since then? Years and years and years ago, like I'm 70 years old now, so more than 50 years ago, I was a bad kid, and I have a Canadian criminal record. Something stupid when you're kids, right? But I have a Canadian pardon, which means if I go to the anywhere in Canada and look up to see what my record was, it should come back zero, nothing, because I have a pardon from the government. But when you go to the United States, that's a different story. That's a different country. So they don't want me in their country. It doesn't matter if I'm 300 years old. I still have, as far as they're concerned, a criminal record. I'm a convicted felon. So I can't drive in the United States. Okay, you're doing a pull behind trailer. And let's say you're going to drive from here to Mexico. Yeah, that would cost a lot of money. That would cost more. You're absolutely right. How many times would you fill up before you got to even the Mexican border, which is where California, and then you're in Baja there somewhere? That would be a lot of money. And then you'd be in the northwest part of Mexico. Yeah, I know that really sucks. You're in the northwest part of Mexico, and if you wanted to drive to Cancun yet, which is on the east, more south and way on the eastern tip of Mexico, there are certain highways that you don't even want to drive during the day across there. They say you don't want to drive there. I mean, even Mexicans have a hard time. What does Ronney Braun say? My gas from here to Vegas would be $1,200. Just to Las Vegas. Holy smokers. And I guess if you're going to drive, you better go quickly before the gas price goes up more. Yeah, Ronney. Like I said, I like to take other people's advice, and if you don't have the problems that I have, you might say, yeah, go for it. But if you have the problem I have, you might say, yeah, I don't know. But I'm just hoping. I got to flip a coin. Is my problem going to get worse quickly, or no? Yeah, here in Medicine Hat, when I got here from, like I said, I go to Vancouver every winter, and in the spring I usually come back in April. So as I'm coming here to Medicine Hat from Vancouver, I get to Medicine Hat, and price of gas was $1.42 a liter, and right now it's a dollar. Well, it was $1.64, but it's $1.59 now. But it went up 20 cents like overnight, and then went back down. And I think that's when they took Alberta took some sort of tax off the gas, so our gas was cheaper. But now they put the tax back on again. It doesn't seem very good around here. Maybe in Mexico it's better than America. Well, in Mexico it's cheap. Now, if you just, even if you don't have insurance and you walk in and you say you have a sore throat, or I don't know about a broken arm. Let's say you fall or slip and you get a broken arm. That would be, it wouldn't be very much money to cover that. But if you get a serious problem, then the price would probably go up. But I looked at some people that are in Mexico, and they say no problem. They don't have any insurance at all, and his wife got. All right, Ronney. there's a diesel shortage also. Oh my goodness. They just went to the doctor, and they said it's. I'm glad Mexico. They worry about two things. They worry about the cartel, and they worry about well, three things: the medical and the dental and all that stuff. Is it? The dental in Mexico is, in my opinion, better than in Canada. More cleanliness. The prices are obviously much better because how many times do you hear that people go to Mexico for medication, for eyes, glasses, and what have you, and dental? Is because it's much better there. And from my opinion, and from my experience, although I haven't dealt with the medical there, I've dealt with dentistry. I've gotten some pills there because of to help with the pain in the dental part, but I never had anything. But the cost of the medication was just like similar to here. But from what I hear, the doctor's office and stuff there is a way more cleanliness. He said even when they stayed in the room in the hospital, it was like you were in a hotel room, like very neat and clean and perfect. The doctor visit I've ever had was in Los Algodones, Mexico. You visited the doctor there in Mexico. What can you share what the experience was like? I know it's a bunch of typing, but like, were the prices good? Were the doctors and everything great? I guess it all depends on what was wrong with you, whether it was serious or not so serious. But that's what I look for, is for what other people have had for experience. And yeah, I'm going to have to look you up again, Wayne. I can see that I'm usually, when I subscribe to someone, I never unsubscribe, because why? It's free, and it hurts the small subscriber, or the small YouTube channel guy, that he's got a few subscribers, and then all of a sudden he has. I've heard from a lot of channel members that were saying, I lost 20 or 30 subscribers. Well, anybody that looks at that and notices that is a small channel. Usually people that are at least over the 1,000 mark and probably well above the 1,000 mark, they probably bounce up and down by hundreds. They don't bother looking at that anymore. They more or less worry about the watch time, the watch hours. And I've been on YouTube for, I don't know how, my watch time was almost at the 3,000 watch hours. Now it's way down to 2,500. I lost 500 watch hours because it goes by yearly chunks. So there was a lull in my, or there still is a lull. I wasn't really trying to get, I'm not really trying to be monetized, like trying to push for that. If I get monetized, great, fantastic, love it. But I'm not pushing for that. Just south of Yuma. Okay, my friends go to Yuma all the time, and they stay there. And the price was fair. Just a small issue with my ears. But he spent the time to assess a few things. Yeah, I watched another guy on YouTube who was staying in Mexico for quite a while. He jumped off some cliff diving thing, and he landed wrong on his side of his head and got an earache, an ear problem. And he went to the doctor and had that looked at. And he was telling the price of what he had to pay, and he said it was just like nothing, next to nothing, especially American prices. Like if you're an American, I feel sorry for some of you that can't afford to pay. Like, you have to buy insurance in order to cover yourself. Here in Canada, fortunately for the moment, There are a lot of things that you can get done that don't cost anything. I've had a friend that has a hip replacement, and now he had a knee replacement done. $0, absolutely no money whatsoever, all done. And I can't understand how that can be. Like this one doctor that was saying, I guess it all depends on what state you're in too. He went to he's from a state, and he says a colonoscopy here is $3,000. $3,000 for a colonoscopy. They stick a tube up your ass, and you get with a camera and a light bulb to see what's going on. That's, like $3,000 here in Canada. It's zero, free. Or even a blood test. We get sent to the doctor here, or to a blood clinic where they take your blood, and they check mark all the boxes and what they're going to test for. And they test for that, and a poop test, and it's all free. And the guy from the YouTube channel from the States said even that costs $40. Like, if you had to do this, we get sent to do a blood sample test. You should do it every 3 months. And that's always done for free. Like, I don't even understand. I can't comprehend. If you don't have an insurance, you can't afford to buy insurance in the state that you're in. And I don't know how much you pay for insurance yearly, but my goodness. And yeah, there again, it's just money that you fork out. And if nothing happens, it's just like a gamble. Like, I'm betting. I'm betting this much money now that nothing happens to me. I don't get a broken arm, or I don't need to get a blood test, and all these people are suffering because they can't afford. I hope your medical system changes somehow. There are some other countries that are way better than Canada even. How do they get like that? How come all countries can't follow that? Where do they probably tax the shit out of them somewhere, some way else. When you get taxed 3 times taxed, you're taxed the first time, you're taxed a second time, and you're taxed a third time on the same bloody dollar. Like, then you better have free medical care. Like, what? Or free child care so that the husband and wife can go working and pay for this. But your child is being looked after all day long for free. Well, how is that free? You pay for that through somehow. You taxes. And here in Canada, I mean, what are they doing? The oil tax. If they can put a tax on something, they will. Like tax the air that you breathe. Like, you guys are using up oxygen. We have to tax you for that. Better not say that too loud, or Trudeau will say, man, you better start charging tax for that. Oh, Tommy has something to say. I have got to run. Right. Thanks for Tommy for stopping in and lending your ear and giving your advice and whatever you had there. And yes, you have a great week yourself. And I thought there were some meetings or something, either you're going to or they're coming near you. So I hope you have some great fun there. And thanks for popping in and piping up and saying what you thought. Have a great day and stay awesome, my friend. My sister. That's one of my sisters from down south. Rob on the road. Hey, sorry about the time deal there, guy. You're not really late to the party. You were early. I had set the wrong time. I forgot to do the timing. I guess it was set for midnight or something last night. I can't figure out my AM from my PM. I guess defaults to some way, and I did put a photo in there, but I neglected to change the time. It just, I set it for the date, which was Sunday. But, and I know I'm coming on at noon on Sunday all the time, but other people don't know that all the time. So, and I'm going to have to, Wayne on the road is in here. And we got Wayne on the road and Rob on the road. And Wayne on the road, I've known for a long time. And I guess when you not stop going to watch, but when you maybe miss one or two, and then all of a sudden it begins to be like, oh, I've forgotten, and months go by, maybe even more than a year has gone by, and but I remember Wayne, and the reason I followed him in the first place because he has my name, or I have his name, or he has my name, one of the two. So that's why I followed him, and he lives in a camper and a truck and pulls his vehicle around. I don't know, he may have changed a few things. I'm going back. Oh, wait a minute. We got something else. Rob or Wayne on the road here said something. A buddy had his appendix taken out here in Alberta. $40 for his prescription. Right. Procedure, $0. Yes. He looked it up, and lowest he could find in the US was $51,000. Well, that'll deplete your bank account like instantaneously. And you see, that's the thing. I think the doctors in the US are so afraid of doing procedures. They have to charge that much because they don't want to get sued. Wow, $51,000. See, there's a problem right there, an appendix thing that happens. You see, $40 for his prescriptions for pills, right here, guys. $40 for the medication, and $0 for the actual cutting you open and doing whatever it takes to fix your appendix. Now, there again, an appendix attack would be a sudden thing, which means if you're in another country and you don't have insurance and you have an appendix problem, you can't just get a next flight back home to get it fixed. You're going to have to go in and get it fixed there. So that's what I'm talking about. If you have to get something done like right away, wow. And my insurance for me for 6 months, because I have that stupid diabetes thing, is $6,000 for 6 months. And it's money that you can just blow in the wind after 6 months if nothing happens. Like, you spent it because you want to protect yourself in case something happens. And yeah, for this one company, I'm covered for $5 million. But let me tell you, if I ever had to make a claim, they would make sure that whatever the procedure is, that it's going to be covered, or they would make sure that is it going to be covered or not. They always say, no, that's not. New nephew was born this morning. Oh, well, congratulations there, Rob. You're an uncle. Congratulations, my friend. That's always a nice thing. Are you an uncle first time? Or is this several times? The Waynes. The YouTube algorithms are a rabbit hole I don't want to go down either. Yeah. You popped up on my TV. Wow. So came to hang out for a bit. Wow, no problem there, Wayne. Thank you again for popping in. And like I said, if I'm not subscribed, I know I was back when I used to watch you all the time. Actually, I watched you going from Alberta to Saskatchewan, the places you parked. I thought, well, I got to go to that place. And you showed everything about where you were parking and what have you. So I followed you. And I know YouTube has a thing where their algorithm says, well, it used to be, I don't know about now anymore, But if you haven't gone to some of your subscriber that you subscribe to, if you haven't gone to them for months and months, maybe it's a year, they would unsubscribe you from them. So you go looking at, hey, I was subscribed to this person, but you're not now. And that's because you haven't gone for a while. So I don't know if they still do that or not. Oh, Rob says second time, possibly more excited than the parents. Yeah. And there's a saying, I don't know if it's in your country the same, but most of the people I see here in Canada, you get married, you have kids, you look after your kids, they grow up, and then they get married, and then they have kids. Now the grandparents are more excited about their kids' kids, their grandkids, than they were about their own kids. And I think it's because when you get married and you have kids, you don't have time to spend with your kids and enjoy their growing up time, and like you can when you are now retired and your kids have kids, and you can spend, you just love the heck out of your grandchildren. And I suppose it's like that with uncles too. I'm a grand uncle, a great uncle. So my niece has kids, so that's a great uncle. So I have I don't know how many nieces and nephews do I have. I have two nephew boys, one grand nephew, and one, two, three nieces. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times uncle. Yeah. Yeah, right. Grandkids get to go home eventually. They don't get. They're not whining all night long, and you don't. I mean, unless they stay with you for a few days, but even then, you just love the shit out of them, you know. So, yeah, and I suppose it's like that most places. So I'm thinking, what the heck? I'm hungry. And I don't know what I should eat. I haven't got anything right here that I can make. I'm going to have to figure something out to eat. How long have I been online here? 2 hours and 28 minutes. Holy smokes. Um, flew to the other side of the world just to push him around town in the stroller. Eh? Oh, yeah, cool. The changing of the diapers might be a little uh, when you can see them sitting there and their face, they're pushing as hard as they can. They got to fill their pants, you know. uh, yes. So, anyways, I think in a few more minutes here, and 2.5 hours here, I'm gonna end it. I know this was a weird one. Had people on early yesterday saying, "Where are you, Wayne?" Um, Sorry about the timing there, guys, but it was my fault. And so, anyways, I just want to say before we go that I want you all to have a great week next week, great night tonight, or great weekend, and stay awesome, be cool, be kind, and stay nomadic outlaws. And you know how to become a nomadic outlaw and stay a nomadic outlaw is subscribe to Nomadic Vanman. I changed my name from King Tut Hut. I think when I used to know Wayne on the road there, I might have been known as King Tut Hut. Now it's Nomadic Vanman. But stay cool, be kind, stay awesome. And my saying that I've taken from a Michael Santana that was in the house here earlier had a great thing, and I like it, and I say it every time. Is that if nobody has told you they loved you today, let me be the first. I love each and every one of you. You're all my brothers and sisters, and I appreciate each and every one of you for coming to my live stream and sharing your time with me and listening to my stories, whether they be good or bad or right or wrong. Stay awesome, everybody. And I think we'll end it here for today. It's been 2.5 hours. And whatever my problems are, health problems, I think I'm still going to head to Mexico and have a good time. And if it be the end, it'd be the end. If not, well, we'll see how long. I'm 70 years old. We're not getting any younger. Your body, I've still got a good mind. I'm relatively healthy, as you don't know what's going on the inside. But anyways, guys, stay safe, be awesome, stay cool. And we'll catch you guys maybe on next Sunday. Stay tuned. Sunday at 12 o'clock, my time at noon. Sorry, if it says AM or PM, yikes. What is 12 noon? I know we can't live in fear, Wayne. And living in fear will cause you stress. And stress is worse for you than a lot of things that people have. So what is 12 noon? Is that a PM? That's what I don't know. So if it's 1 p.m., it's 1 in the afternoon. So 12 in the afternoon is 12 p.m. So I must have had it set for 12 a.m. 12 after midnight. Midnight is 0. Noon is 1200 hours. If you're going by the 2400 clock, yes. But I don't even think I know what AM and PM stands for. But I always used to, how I remembered PM was P for midnight. So it's from 12 all the way around to 12 again is P4 midnight. So it's PM from 12 noon. Well, 12:01 must be PM. So 12 exactly noon must be PM. And there's Rob. He's always correct. Thanks, Rob. Love you, brother. And Wayne, I'm going to look you up. We'll be subscribing. Have a good trip. However you get to Mexico or wherever you're going. You didn't say whether it was Mexico or not, but have a good trip, my brother. And we'll catch you guys all next Sunday, no matter where I'm at. All right. Stay safe, guys. Bye.